Looks like it is tricky conditions right now. I believe the McLaren of Captain Sandhu is on. Is going to be starting his flying lap soon now. Let's ride on board with him. Of course, turn one not flat out in the wet. Probably downshifted an extra gear over there. Let's see how he takes the second part of this track now. Reaching up the infamous Cobb's turn where Hamilton and Verstappen had slightest of contacts, if I may say. Let's see how he takes Maggots and Beckett's now. Lift off there, drops down 2 gears. Drops down another, goes right down to third, going on to the hanger straight. It's quite odd, if I may. Coming up to the last part of the track, which is not that difficult in the dry, but let's see how we can take it. Definitely has more time here with Ashok Anand putting it a 138.2 on his flying lap the first time on board. Let's see what Captain Sandhu can do now. And I think he didn't invalidate. Wow. Comes across the line. It's a 137.6 faster than Ashok Anand. Let's see who's there behind him. I think it's we have Sid who's on a fast lap right now. Let's see what he can do. Approaching the last couple of turns on the track. Comes across the line and puts in a 138.0. Joining me will be Hushrav, who should be online in a couple of seconds now. Let's see. Ahif meanwhile went second fastest with a 137.8. Couple of times coming on board right now as we have Hushrav who's just joined us in the comms box. Hey Hushrav. I believe he's still loading. Indic Gamer who's approaching Maggots and Beckett's now.
Hi Yash, sorry, can I have an invite to the session?
Yep. Indic Gamer who's invalidated his lap, and we have Vintage who's just starting his lap in the first sector right now. And I believe this straight is now called Hamilton Straight. Maybe someone can fact check that. On board with I who had invalidated his lap. Captain Sandhu doesn't seem to be improving on his time either. Meanwhile, Hushar, did you get the invite?
Yep, loading it. Almost there.
Thakur was starting his second flyer. Everyone is probably on high fuel loads as of now. Probably want to do 3-4 runs here. Doesn't look like the session is going to dry up, but can never say with this game.
And I win. Yash, is the volume loud and clear?
Yep, it is. It is for me
Okay,
at least. But we always
yeah,
have
could
people who
you,
complain.
yeah, on the stream, if you can anyone can let me know because these are a new pair of earphones, so I don't know what the voice is calibrated correctly or not. So just
Well,
let me know if
okay.
it's loud or
So,
soft.
boys and girls on the stream, my man wants to flex his headphones, so please let us know if they're working fine.
I think my 5 pound skull candy earphones are far from a flex.
I mean, you might as well
Nonetheless,
give away for where you bought it from as well.
um,
Anyway, Sid
so looks like
Venkatesh
we have a
ending his
wet
lap.
qualifying session here
Yep,
on our
and
hands.
Sid goes
So
fastest with a 137.2. Yep, it is a wet quali. We don't really know how the race is going to be panning out.
given it is Silverstone, though, I would assume that there might, if not the entire race being wet, there might be a certain segment of the race that is wet because Silverstone historically tends to give us wet races. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the strategy ends up being like. Hopefully, we can have one of the D2 drivers actually tell us later on. But it's going to be an interesting session. I don't think this session is going to dry out particularly because it's yet raining on my screen. And
Yep,
I mean,
it is raining
with
quite
7
heavily.
minutes or to spare, I don't particularly think that we're going to have any dry running, any soft tire running, but the track might improve like it did dramatically in B1 last race when in France, even though it was yet wet. Just light rain can make all the difference. So I think drivers who can time their rounds correctly maybe are definitely going to have time to find.
Yeah, and don't forget that Silverstone, being the track it is, it actually dries up pretty fast, even in real life and in the game as well.
Yeah.
And it's usually, like you said, mixed conditions. Britain is known for that. Moody weather all the time.
So while I think we're in a bit of like a lull here, we only have a few cars out on track. So we quickly go through the championship scenario for B2 right now. We have Ahif in the lead, of course, who's 21 points clear, with Sid Kulkarni right behind. So it's still all to play for, and easy level as well, yet in mathematical contention. He's obviously 43 points off Ahif, so while, like I said, he is in mathematical contention, he's going to have to hope for two very unfortunate races from Ahif and Sid Karni to have a chance. But so far, it's looking good for Ahif. He's P2 while his next closest championship rival is P11, and easy level hasn't even got a lap on the board yet. So I think for Ahif, if he can just extend, if he outscores Kulkarni by over 5 points, the championship is his to have.
Yep, and he'll definitely be looking for that. Meanwhile, it is a Ferrari 1-2 up front, though IF would be looking to be the lead Ferrari in a scenario like this. Because we do know that turn 1 in Britain is known to be notorious because of how fast you go into that corner. So, yeah, he probably would want to be leading out of that corner.
Absolutely, and I think given that we've had a wet qualifying session, it'll also be interesting to see the kind of strategies the drivers decide to employ, because Silverstone is one of those tracks where the soft medium and the medium soft are about as powerful. So it's going to be interesting to see which drivers decide to gamble on the ultimate strategy and which ones just pick the safe option and go for soft, because Dio is historically very low here. You can easily put on a set of mediums and go almost the full race distance again. So
Yeah, that is true. And I personally speaking, I would have gone for the alternate strategy because, to be fair, it's not difficult to overtake around Silverstone. You have multiple options on multiple parts of the track where you can make overtakes, and the two DRS zones really help you out with that. What is also interesting to see is with the wet quali and no idea of what the race is, what setups people go for, because Silverstone does put drivers into a bit of confusion where you don't know if you're going to go for higher downforce to make sure that you get Maggots and Beckett's right, or you go for lower downforce to make sure you are fast on hanger straight.
that is true. Actually, that's a very good point, because, like you said, Silverstone you can be quick using a bunch of different setups. I think in the race, though, especially given if it's a dry race, Some drivers, most drivers, I feel, might opt for a lower downforce setup because at the end of the day, the overtaking happens on the straight. And given it's Silverstone, like you said, two DRS zones, long straights, there's going to be a lot of DRS trains, there's going to be a lot of ERS games going on as well. So I think personally, I would prefer to have a lower downforce setup because that gives me the buffer on the straight where the overtaking actually does happen, and then you just have to hope that the car is good enough through the corners to give you enough of a gap.
Yeah, and quite coincidentally speaking, you speak about having a low drag setup, and getting back to real life F1, Mercedes has come with the low drag setup to Silverstone because they have been quite quick in the quicker corners of the tracks in this season, and like you said, they also are hoping to be part of the top runners which they've been missing from, and I'm sure Easy Level and Wicked Wiki are also looking forward to be part of the top runners soon. And I'm not sure if you watched FP2, but George Russell on one of his race simulations got told you are matching the Ferraris now, and I'm sure the two Mercedes here also would want to be hearing that.
I'm sure they do, but currently the pressure is on Easy Level board because, like I said, out of the three drivers in contention with the championship, he's the one with the largest points deficit to the leader right now, and he's borderline in contention right now, and no lap on the board currently, so the pressure is fully on him to settle lap, and I think he is going to get his first representative lap on the board here as he rounds out Stowe and keeps it fairly disciplined within the track limits. Let's see if he gets the final chicane right. Yep, looks good. Leaves a bit on the table, but understandably so because he needs to get a lap in. He can't possibly make an error here, and I think he's going to continue on for the second lap. Now we can actually tag along for an onboard lap with Easy Level. So he navigates the first corner, slight lift in these conditions. It's just far too wet with too much aquaplaning to attempt taking it flat even at this stage. Fairly tidy through the next chicane, not using all of the track, but again, understandable because the conditions just don't facilitate being that aggressive with the track right now. He powers down the Wellington straight. Let's see, as he should be going into hangar now. I mean, my bad. Luffield, not hangar. And again, fairly neat and tidy, no drama to it, but yeah, not using all of the track, but again, P14, so his first lap has not been the most representative, but I'm sure it's just him getting up to speed with the condition. As Thakur goes fastest.
136.0. So probably the track improving, rubbering down just that little bit in the wets. But of course, let's see. I think the times will tumble down a bit more. I'm hoping someone goes into the 134s. It might be a little optimistic, but let's see if someone can pull that off. On board with Ahif now.
As I'll just watch Easy Level finish off his lap. He's 1.4 seconds up, so he's definitely finding time. In fact, he might even have a third lap here. He had the battery for it because the battery is the consumption is nothing fancy. Easy Level goes P11 and that's out. So that's
he is 12 in fact. I'm guessing I'm guessing it's a dry race because I don't see any other reason for him to back off. He probably actually no, it's wet. Why would he do that? I'm actually very surprised why he's done this. I mean, if I were him, I would go for the track position because I know these tires are not going to get used in the race either way.
Exactly. But yeah, that's Easy Level's qualifying done. It's P12 for our third place holder.
Meanwhile, Ahif is 2/10 up on his time right now, which is not enough for pole position right now.
Yeah. At the compound, Ahif's worries, if you notice on the timing tower, Captain Sandhu's actually split the Ferraris.
Yep, so that is actually a good lap from the McLaren there.
And Ahif runs slightly wide of the last chicane as well. It's not the perfect lap you'd expect from the championship leader. Thakur looks to have measured him so far, but he does reclaim P2. So,
but I think he's going on another flyer now. Should be able to. Oh, he almost loses the car there. Somehow keeps it under control. Meanwhile, Thakur was in the pit, so we won't be seeing him out again. Sid Venkatesh is on a lap. He is just marginally up on his time. He should be securing that position. May be able to overtake Captain Sandhu. Captain Sandhu is backed off his lap, so we won't be seeing much of him again. Meanwhile, Sid
Oh, Sid
Venkatesh goes
just runs
wide,
wide.
but he is a tenth up on his time. This should put him in P3.
He's a 10th up, but now he's going to lose time all the way through the straight. So maybe right now on his delta, he might not even be green anymore, given he ran wide at the
That
exit there.
is true. Let's see what IF is
But
doing.
he might
IF is
not
not up on his time as well. Meanwhile, let's see what Sid Venkatesh finishes with.
He might still have a shot at Captain Sandhu here.
Oh, he doesn't,
And
and he misses out by 10. Yep, and IF, I don't think he's improving as well. Meanwhile, Vintage Players on a lap. He is up by 3/10. He looks to be going for P3 right now. But this is the most trickiest part of the track.
And Ahir's boxed. That's Ahir done for qualifying.
So let's see if the Red Bull can claim any sort of position back from the Ferraris.
If Vintage does keep it clean here, he might have a very good shot at least Captain Sandhu, if not sweeping the Ferraris, which would be a very good qualifying from him. He keeps it nice and tidy through the last corner.
Minimal steering input. Minimal steering input. Though it is he goes P5. I think he lost time in that last chicane because I thought that he didn't turn in enough in that first part of the chicane is what I felt, and I don't think anyone else is on a lap. So, Pushraf, can you take us away with the grid?
So we have the Ferrari who's the second Ferrari in the championship right now. Thakur, pole position, 36.0. A huge 7/10 gap to his teammate, our current championship leader, Ahir, who sets 36.7. We have Captain Sandhu, very impressive qualifying. In third place, a real good run of form performed extremely well in Canada as well. Sid Venkatesh, as usual, consistent as ever, P4 with 37 flat. Vintage and In-Gamer, both the Red Bulls, very closely matched, only about 100 off following Sid Venkatesh. Wicked Vicky lines up P7. We have Sid Kulkarni, who follows in P8. Will be a bit disappointed in that, given this is his chance to launch a championship, a final kind of championship assault. And then we have Harshi P9, Anton Hypers P10. Delhi Mosquito follows in P11, just missing out on the top 10 by about half a tenth. Ashok Anand in P12. Easy level in P13, and extremely disappointing qualifying from him, but hopefully a lot to play for on the race. And then Oxidized Rage rounds off the final drivers who set time in 14th place. And then we have Abdul, Ace, Avi, and URL Pradeep, who did not set a time. So it's shaping up to be a very interesting race, and now I think the main thing to watch is going to be on the formation lap. What tires does everyone put on?
Yeah, that's really going to be an interesting choice now.
So right now, if you're Sid Kulkarni, you're 21 points off the championship lead. Your championship rival is in second place on the front row. You're on the fourth row of the grid. What are you doing with tire strategy right now? Are you going opposite to what Ahif does, or are you just going on the softest tire possible and trying to make up as many places on this tire as you can?
Like I said, personally, I would go for the mediums and then attack at the end with the softs.
But I think the one con I could imagine for starting on the mediums is, and as we've seen before, IRL does tend to typically be very safety car prone. And Silverstone is a high-speed track, so there will be spins, there will be spins. By chance, you do get a safety car at, say, lap 7, lap 8. That means you then have to either go onto the hards, which is a tire I would personally rather not put on my car around the circuit, or then you have to go 18 laps on the softs. So I think if you are going on to the mediums, you're really gambling on there not being a mid-race safety car, and typically we do tend to see a lot of mid-race safety cars. As with the softs, while it might not strategically be the fastest end-to-end, softs do give you that freedom of boxing pretty much whenever you want and it yet being a viable strategy. Anyways, moment of truth. Let's put on the tires. It's... Yep, there we go. Yashi, there?
Yeah, sorry, big brain moment. I was on mute.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, I went through half the grid with the tires and then I realized
Oh,
I
my bad.
was.
Do you want to
Anyway,
go through it again?
yep, so we have the two Ferrari starting on the mediums with Captain Sandhu on the soft, so he's going to be one to watch out at the start. Followed by Sid Venkatesh and Vintage on the mediums again. Indie Gamer, Wicked Wiki, soft tires, Sid Kulkarni, Hershey on the mediums. Anton on the soft, rounding up our top 10, Deadly Mosquito, Ashok Anand on the mediums, Easy Level bot on the softs in P13. We have Oxidize and Abdul Samad going on mediums, and Ace on the soft, and the last two, Abhi and URL Pradeep, on the mediums again.
Very, very interesting. I had imagined two scenarios of what tires Sid would go on, and it was none of them. He made a third scenario by himself. I had thought he would either have gone opposite to Ahif, or he would have started on the softs regardless of what Ahif did. But interestingly enough, Ahif picked the mediums, which is an understandable choice. But Sid has decided to mirror Ahif and also start on the mediums, which I don't know how I feel about that call, because if I was 21 points behind in the championship, I would be doing everything possible to try something different from the guy I have to beat and get onto the more aggressive strategy and try focusing on track position. But nonetheless, let's see how this pans out. We have 26 laps to decide this. So
Yep, and it's going to be a very interesting start because we have the lead Ferrari in the championship starting P2, and
yeah.
I mean, I wish they get out of turn one safely, but let's not make it too boring, guys, if you know what I mean. So, Shrav, you have a bit of knowledge of how to make things interesting with Ferraris, that too.
As we line up for the grid, it's 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. It's a good start from Captain Sandhu
yep.
with those soft tires. Makes it up to P2.
Sid Venkatesh is had a half spin.
Sid Kulkarni has made a brilliant getaway as he goes into P6, and look at Captain Sandhu, he's made the move for the lead. Fantastic move there as with the Aston Martin's round. I think it's Oxidized Rage at the back. And Vintage is... Oh, he's just got it though. Look at that though, look at P4, P5, P6, look at Sid Kulkarni, he's going to make a 3 wide there, can he make the move stick? Round the outside, yes he does, P4, what a fantastic move, this is exactly what he needed, and now look at it.
He's right behind his championship rival now.
And he's right behind him, exactly. As Sid goes slightly wide at the exit of Luffield, and Vintage is now round the outside, let's see who has the bigger balls.
Wow.
Vintage does, but runs out of track there.
Yeah, I hope Max and Lewis are watching this because they went 3 wide there. That's unfortunate for Indic.
It was not the wisest.
And Hershey DNF'd. We didn't really catch that. He's come out of the first part of Maggots and Beckett's and had a spin there. Is it a safety car? It's not a safety car right now. So I think... Yep, and meanwhile going into the lead of the race, Captain Sandhu doesn't look like he's pulling away right now, but let's see. Wicked Wiki meanwhile pits, so I think he has some damage.
Absolutely. Now let's see. I think the main interesting battle for me right now is going to be, what does Sid Kulkarni do here with Ahif? Can he keep up with the leading 3 space? Because if I was Sid, I would drain all of my ERS on this gap right now and try getting into that second gap of Ahif, as I think Ashok Anand has that bit of a spin in turn 1.
So going on to the positions made on lap 1 right now, we have Captain Sandhu who's gained 2, both the Ferraris losing a place each. Sid Kulkarni who made a dream start and is up 4 positions. Sid Venkatesh and Vintage down 1 place each again. And then we have a string of drivers who made up a lot of places, with Anton making up 3, Easy Level making up 5, Deadly Mosquito 2, Abdul Samad 5, Abhi has made up 6 positions, Ace has made up 4, Indik has actually lost 7 because he was spun around, URL Pradeep made up 4, Oxidize has lost a place, Ashok Anand lost 4, Wicket Wiki with down 10 positions, and Harshi, who's the lone retiree of this race till now.
So, quite a lot of talking points, I think, from that lap one. Captain Sandhu, of course, making full use of the soft tires, passing both the Ferraris right off the start. So, as good as it can get from him. And Sid Kulkarni, of course, fantastic start. P8 to P4, just what he needed. And then that 3 wide moment at the entry of Maggots. Yeah, not the wisest move I've seen by any of the 3 involved. But unfortunately, it's in the game who comes off worse, facing the wrong way. While Vintage loses a place to Anton in the process, and Sid carries on in P5. So, luckily, we didn't see any DNFs from that incident, which is always good to see. Glad that all drivers could continue. But now look up ahead. So, Thakurva, right on the back of Captain Sandhu within DRS. Arif lost touch a bit with them. In fact, dropped way out of DRS now as well. Sid Kulkarni again hovering in that 1.3, 1.4 second region. So, yeah, I think right now,
it's a little too early for Captain Sandhu to be suffering on those soft tires right now, but I don't know if he's running. He probably had a slightly wet setup he used in quali, which is not the most ideal thing in the race now.
More so, he shouldn't be suffering this early because they are fresh softs because they had a wet qualifying. So fresh softs should at least.
Yeah, if you see Ushrav, Thakur was gaining almost 2 tenths on him on the straight, so it does look like he's losing out on the. He is on a wet setup with higher wings.
Yeah. So I think he's going to have to make use of the grip and of the downforce while he can. But it just clearly from the onboard, it just looks like Thakur was just way more comfortable sitting behind him right now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ahif is back in the DRS of his teammate as well, which is quite.
Sid,
Sid chasing behind him, who's lost out a bit.
Sid's not had a very good lap 3. He's almost fallen to 2 seconds behind Ahif.
Oh, meanwhile, Thakur were right behind Captain Sandhu now. He should be looking to make this move stick.
Let's see which way does he go. He's deploying ZRS and now he stops.
Oh, he goes.
The thing is, yeah, he goes a bit wide there, but if this is enough, Captain Sandhu is not running as high wings as we both suspect he is because with DRS and even with a bit of ERS, Thakurva didn't clone as much as I thought he would.
So but if you notice, Ushrav, he is quite low on his ERS. So.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say unless he's deploying a lot of ERS.
And he is still deploying, and he's going to be out of that pretty soon because Thakurva is almost. His ERS tank is almost full right now. If you can watch it on board. He's probably this
now almost at the fringe of derating.
He is out of ERS now. His light started blinking at the end of that straight. Should be lining up a move.
Right there to pick up the scraps from this if anything does happen.
Yeah, and Sid Kulkarni's dropped a little more behind. Let's see what other fights we have on track.
And the top 4 have clearly pulled away from the rest of the pack, but I don't think Sid Kulkarni at this stage of the race has the pace to live up with the top 3. While Sid Venkatesh is now chasing Anton Harper.
Yeah, slight two-car train forming behind Anton right now. With easy level, with his not so good quality making up those positions on the soft tires, he'll be looking to overtake Sid Venkatesh at the earliest because his softs won't be lasting forever.
That is true. It is actually a very good start from easy level, who's made amends for his disappointing qualifying so far. As vintage level also looking to move on Deadly Mosquito.
Oh, and the easy level goes down the inside of Sid Venkatesh. Now around the outside. Can he make the move stick?
He does have a grip advantage at this stage, but now around the outside of Cox.
Yeah, I think these two drivers are far more mature to not go side by side into cops there.
Yep, he does the move, completes the move way before the turning in point even. Loses a bit of his GRS in the process, but yet has 70% to play with. So But it's a good, well-managed recovery from easy level so far. But
Oh, meanwhile,
now
what
he
we
doesn't
missed was
have.
Thakurwa overtook Captain Sandhu.
That is true. He has made the move. I'm assuming the move was down the hanger straight. As now Captain Sandhu is, I think he's starting to struggle. It's going to be interesting to see whether Captain Sandhu can now actually sit behind Thakurwa, maybe recoup his battery a bit, regain his composure, and then try making use of the soft tires. Because I know from experience that the soft tires will be the faster tire till at least lap 8 to lap 10. So he has the grip to play with at this stage. You can see he's yet draining all of his battery, even though he's not close enough for a move, while Thakurwa very comfortably not using any of his battery. So a bit of management does need to be done by Captain Sandhu, as there's a yellow flag in sector 1. I think that's Ashok Anand, who's had a bit of a spin again at the same spot he did early on in the race. As Ace now passed. Does Ace pass him? No, Ace does not pass him. Easy level should be shaping up for a move on Anton Hyper at the handle straight as well. So, Anton nearly loses it at the exit of props. As Captain Sandhu is in Thakurwa's DRS. Again, look at the amount he's gaining. Captain Sandhu, he's running low wing, but he's run out of the DRS now. He has nothing to fight with.
Yep, and probably gonna get overtaken by IF any moment now. But he's not lost touch with Thakurwa in front. I don't know if Thakurwa is maybe holding him up so that Ahif can pass him, but holding up in Silverstone doesn't really help because you're kind of towing everyone around quite a bit.
Exactly, and it's also very hard given how high speed the track is. There's no places you could really hold the driver up per se. I think it's just Captain Sandhu has now got that DRS, so he's very happy sticking behind him. Maybe he really needs to start harvesting here because he's not close enough for the move, and then because he's deploying in all the wrong spots, he's not giving himself the chance to actually have a shot at Thakurwa when it is possible to.
Yeah, and I have lost some ground to him on this lap, at least the first sector of this lap, and he's losing even more ground. I don't know what's up with him right now. Sid Kulkarni closed up about 2/10 to him in the matter of that lap.
Might have been a mistake. Yeah, I think it might have been a mistake at some point in the lap.
And Anton has somehow kept easy level and Sid Venkatesh at bay, so he's probably doing a good job in that Alpine to defend. As we know,
easy levels,
defending like a lion. Yep, that is true. But Anton isn't bad himself if you really look at it.
That is true.
I mean, for a car defending with DRS cars behind him, that's pretty good, to be fair.
The thing is, though, this is the first battle we've seen of soft tire versus soft tires. Look at the closing speed easy level has. Which way is he going to go? He dominates to the inside, does not have the eventual overspeed to get to. As Captain Sandhu picks up at the 3 seconds. That is going to have a significant impact on his battle with the leader of his Thakurwa. To add insult to injury, sets the fastest lap of the race, indicating that he has the pace even unassisted without DRS. But another lap. 2 laps now, easy level being stuck behind Anton, despite clearly looking like the faster car.
And he'd want to make that overtake because Anton is losing a lot of ground to Sid Kulkarni in front of him, and easy level will want to close that gap down ASAP.
Yep. Oh, and Anton's touched the curb there at the exit just before the Wellington straight. This might give easy level a shot, but easy level is not deploying here, which is why he just does not have the closing speed. Let's see, he sends Anton a bit wide again. This is good setup from easy level. He sets him up every corner. He just needs to actually finish the move off at the end of the straight here. As he's deploying here, he's going to try putting a bit of pressure on Anton again. And look at that, Ahif right on Captain Sandhu. Captain Sandhu's light flashing. Ahif 4/10 behind. Captain Sandhu's lost DRS of Thakurwa now.
Yeah, so this should be an easy move for Ahif.
It should. Yep, look at that. Captain Sandhu does defend, interestingly enough. Does he hold it down the inside? Yes, he does. Ahif understandably losing the space as they go side by side into the final chicane. Captain Sandhu is still there on the outside.
Wow!
Yeah, a fair play. He's made that move stick around the outside, which consequently then gives you the inside for the final.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while watching that easy level, precisely, he's made the move. Sid will want to be closing down now because he knows that he also has the pace, or at least had it in the first half of this race.
Yeah, that's true. Sid has lost touch a bit here because he was. Remember, the order was exactly the opposite way around here. It was Sid Anton easy level. So
Meanwhile,
Sid now
Vintage
finds
has
himself at
pit
the back.
for. He's going into the for soft tires. Wow.
Oh, he had wing damage. Yep, he
Oh,
had wing
okay.
damage. But yeah, I think for Vintage that's gonna be.
But look at Anton. He's right at the back of easy level bot now. Oh, and they make the slightest contact, but keep it fair enough.
Yep, rubbing is racing at the end of the day, and they keep it just at the bounds of what I would consider okay. This battle will continue on though because they both have decently full ERS doors to play with.
Oh, and
that
Anton
could
gets
be-
a 3-second. Yep.
Yeah, second he hit the curb. I realized that's going to be a warning. But four drivers.
Oh, he
are
goes
ready.
wide there, so that's going to sacrifice. Oh, he's lost it there.
Oh yeah, that's. And now look at the time Sid's going to gain on him all through the straight here. Anton's lost about.
No,
7
he's
or
not going
10.
to gain much because he does have DRS. He was under the second activation.
Oh,
So
there's a yellow in sector 3. That is.
oh, that is that a?
Oh, that's a BSC. Ashok Anand has brought out the BSC.
Oh, Sid Venkatesh just went past the pits, but I don't think he would have looked to pit there. Meanwhile, Indie Gamer goes into the pits on the softs. That's a perfect time for him. Oh, he gets a 5-second as well while doing so.
And does all the
Oh,
other
and
games on
Pradeep really cut the pit lane there. Pradeep, you can't slow down. So he also gets a 5. What? Oh, I think drivers are missing the point that it's 59 kilometers per hour. You're not 79. I don't think it is 79, right? It is 59 if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, Takuro is almost stopped on the track. Why is he here? Oh, he probably has lapped Ashok Anand, which is why he is there.
Captain Sandhu, drive-through penalty, has to be a restart. Oh no, it gets worse after the 3-second now. And look at that, Sid Kulkarni on Ahif. He's made up a lot of time here because Ahif has been stuck behind Captain Sandhu. This move is going to be crucial for Ahif to pull off right now.
Yep.
But can he? He's not got the best of runs, but he will have a bit of ERS to play with.
Yep, he is deploying. He wants to get this done.
Let's
Not
watch
going to be
this from
easy.
Kulkarni again, same way. But this time off and Captain Sandhu boxes.
But Sid
now,
Kulkarni is right there. I didn't get a best entry into that corner.
So there's going to be right on our hip here. This is going to be really, really interesting. Let's see how hard these two championship rivals fight. First and second in the championship. Second and third in the race right now. Sid has to make this move and has to beat Ahif on track today. He has to have a shot of continuing this into the last race. Let's see how this goes.
They've really left Thakurva loose in front there.
That is true. Captain Sandhu has really helped Thakurva by slowing everyone down behind him. And Sid, interestingly enough, doesn't deploy. Ahif is draining his battery. So, I think Sid is thinking long term here. Sid wants the move done on the last straight, not right now.
Deadly Mosquito has left the session.
Yep, a bit of a disconnect, unfortunately for him. Let's hope he rejoins back again soon. But this is what I'm saying, even that might be a warning for Sid. Yep, that is definitely going to be a warning for Sid. As Vintage has passed the slap on the soft tires. Oh, not the best run out of there.
Yeah, he lost quite some time there, so
Yeah.
he will live to fight another day though.
I hope so, because now he's about 7/10 back, so let's hope he sticks into the DRS zone detection point, which is now all the way at turn 1, exit of turn 1 in fact. If Ahif does get a good run out of here, he might be able to break the DRS, but I think Sid should be, I think Sid's got it covered. Might just deploy a bit here in the main straight here.
So no, the activation, isn't it at turn 3 or 4? Not
No,
one.
I meant the detection, not the activation. My bad.
No,
detection point-
is at turn 3.
It's the exit of the first corner, like the sweeping corner. So
Oh,
into
that's-
village. It's at the entry of village. Whereas
Oh.
the activation point for that is at the start of the straight.
Oh, I believe the. Okay, that's something we can debate later. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it might just be, oh, Ashok Anand's gone off again. Oh no, that's Abhi. That's not Ashok Anand. That's Abhi.
Meanwhile, Easy
Who's
Level
coming
bought
back in.
Pit for new set of medium tires, so his softs are probably done. Where
Yep.
is Sid Kulkarni? He is at the back of Ahif. Gets a good run out of Cops this time. Gap stays stagnant. Will want to ace
Yeah, but
Maggots and Beckett's.
it's yeah, and that's the only downside about following a car at Silverstone. It's the run through Maggots and Beckett's because of the dirty air. It makes what is the best opportunity to pass on track. It makes that opportunity a bit harder because you have to follow the car and get a better run than the car ahead, which is more challenging than it looks. But
That is
nonetheless,
true,
he's
but
sitting comfortably behind.
he's still going to be putting some pressure on IF because IF knows that Sid is right on
Yep.
his tail. He'll be
Oh,
looking in
and
his
he's
rear view
had another
mirrors.
spin, I think. Yep, he's had another spin. I think that's contact though, because that's very odd pace to spin. He's spun right at the end of sector one, even before the braking zone. In fact, that's definitely contact he's made with someone there.
Anton on the back
And
of Indy Gamer now.
yep,
He'll be lining
that should
Indy
be an
up.
easy move, I think. The gamer is deploying, so it's not the simplest move in the world, but Anton does pick the inside indicator, does not fight it. Oh, he does fight it, guys. You see there. Anton losing the space, does indicator leaving the space now at the last chicane, Anton.
Oh, and
Yep,
whoa,
making
there
the
we have
mistake.
Ashok Anand's ghost just going through the cars there. I don't think
Oh, and
that's the
that's put
most.
Anton out. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is.
that's yeah. No, Ashok, don't do that. Don't. Oh, he's got one more
We've
3 seconds.
seen this. Yeah, we've seen this cause incidents in the
Yep.
previous race.
Well,
It's not something
stewards,
we
you
want to
have your
see.
job cut out.
Yep, as we go, round three, Sid and Ahif, and I think this is the best run since. Oh no, just as I say that, he makes the slightest. Oh, he almost
Yeah,
reached it on the
yeah, he
grass
had
as well.
a big moment coming onto Hanger Straight there.
That's a very odd place to be dipping your wheel
That's a very
onto the grass.
unlucky 210 he lost coming out of Maggots and Beckett's there
Yeah,
onto Hanger Straight.
because it's not just about the two times you lose at the exit, because the way DRS and any kind of slipstream effect works is it gets stronger the closer you get. So dropping that 2/10 at an acceleration point is the last thing you'd possibly want, and unfortunately that's what Stid's done here. But
Yeah, yeah, and
nonetheless,
the guys who were running last, almost last, Oxidize and Abdul are P5 and P6, which is not bad. They've kept their
yeah.
position. They are nose clean, and they've made up the positions quite well here. And they are without penalties, so that will obviously be an advantage to them.
You see, I don't quite understand what's happening with Sid here, but Sid Venkatesh is losing a lot of pace. Oxidize and Abdul, like you point out, at the back of the field are now only 1.5 seconds off Sid, and on the same strategy.
Yeah,
So
and yeah, that is actually quite interesting because we've not had a safety car, and they have actually come up the grid. Where Sid is not,
yeah.
is basically where he started right now.
And Sid doesn't. I'm seeing his off-board POVs right now,
Meanwhile,
and
we go on board with Sid Kulkarni, but we do not comment because we've seen what. Yeah, I shouldn't go on board with him.
yeah, I think he's not getting the run out of Gops that he really needs to, unfortunately. I mean, wait, Maggots, Beckett's. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
And
I
look at
have
that, I
pits.
think.
That's quite an early
Talking
pit
about
stop.
oh, they're going to double stack? The Ferraris are going to double stack here.
Oh, this
That
is not going to be
it
very
is going to
interesting.
slow down our here. It might not slow him down as much, but it will definitely
But
slow him down.
yeah, but Hushraf, even a couple of tenths and he can lose that position to Sid Kulkarni because he was right
Yeah,
on his tail.
exactly. Oh, look at that. Yep, he's held about at least half a second, about a second more than
Not
what
the
he would
most
have liked.
ideal thing which happened there.
And now look at this. This lap is going to have to be hammer time. Look at that. He's deploying all by himself. He knows he's going to overcut this lap. He has to overcut this lap because the advantage Ahif has, despite the slow stop, is he has a lap of Silverstone to do with fresh softs. While Sid is going to be on aging medium tires, to say the least. And now look at that. It's a Sid 1-2 at the front.
Yeah, And Oxida is right on the tail of Sid Venkatesh.
Still closing in. He's still closing in. So I don't know what's happened to Sid here, but the second Sid has lost a bit of pace after what was a very strong qualifying and good initial part of the race. And look at that, Indie Gamer on to Anton Hypers. Again, Ashok Anand still there, ghosted. That is... I don't... Oh, he's caused contact. Yep. That was inevitable, honestly.
I don't know what Ashok Anand is doing there, but that's not the right thing.
It absolutely isn't. And look at
Sid Kulkarni stays out.
Continued on. Yeah. That was easily his best shot to actually get past Ahif, and he's not boxed.
But he does know that Thakurva and Ahif may have to make a couple of overtakes here, which might slow them down because Thakurva and Ahif are closing down on the P2, P3, P4 guys quite fast.
That is true, but they are 2 seconds ahead, so they're yet to...
And Sid Kulkarni gets a 3 second, and that's not going to be helpful at all.
Not at all, not the slightest. Ahif, meanwhile, penalty-free race so far, not even a single warning. Sid Venkatesh picked up 2 warnings early on in the first 2 laps, so he's going to be on threads there. As a yellow flag, Oxidize has spun it around. I think at this stage, Sid Kulkarni might as well just gamble for the safety car. Because it's past the point where he's going to overcut Ahif. And even if he does, the 3 seconds is looming over his head. So he might as well just gamble it for a VSC actually, not an SC. So he loses the time and at the same time gets up the racing speed immediately. There's been a sufficient incident here. There's Indie Gamer, who's been spun around for the last 20 seconds. I don't know what's happening there. Thankfully, it doesn't bring out.
Meanwhile, Sid Kulkarni comes into the pits now. He is quite way ahead of the rest, but let's see how this pans out for him.
The Silverstone pit lane is the longest pit lane lengthwise on the calendar, so time-wise on the calendar, so he's going to lose a lot of time out. But it will yet be close, that being said, but let's see the lap time. So Sid Kulkarni's last lap at racing speed was 30. So
Thakur is going to go past him for sure, but what is important is to see if Ahif does the same, and he actually might go past him as well. Yeah, this is going to be pretty easy.
Ahif just set a lap that was 2 seconds faster than Sid's last lap. So, yep, Ahif does have this covered, and now he's clear out of DRS range as well. So, unfortunately, Sid didn't react to that slow stop by Ferrari, and that's eventually cost him the position, and it's led him to push even more, which is...
And we have Sid Venkatesh and Thakurva going for it in the lead there. Sid obviously doesn't have the tires to fight this anymore.
Not at all.
It's been quite a drama-free race, if I may say.
It has 17 laps, and we've only had 1 VSC so far. That too. Oh, and Sid Kulkarni he's not bothering about the track limits anymore. He's just gone absolutely flat out and not made the corner by miles. But yeah, I think at this point he's just sending it.
Yep. I mean, it's not really been what Silverstone usually is. An entertaining race, no matter what. Because if you remember, even in real life, Silverstone has always been a track where something has to happen. Like, I date back to even 2018 where we didn't have a lot of overtakes, but the track had its own issues with the bumpiness. And if you remember, we had a huge crash with Brendan Hartley, if I'm not wrong, where his car just bounced and went into the barriers.
I think that was FP3, yep. It was FP3 where Brendan Hartley had a suspension failure of some sorts, and that led to his car not wanting to stop anymore.
And Hamilton had made a amazing comeback where he got spun around by Raikkonen and he came back to, I think, finish P2 or P3 on that race.
Might have been P2, I think.
But it's also one of the last races where Vettel absolutely dominated. And that age-old Hamilton versus Vettel title fights.
Yeah. It might not all be over yet because, I mean, he does have a 2-lap tire delta, and Sid Currently has caught up a second to Ahif there. So,
Meanwhile, we have a strain forming behind Vintage player right now.
yep, remember he boxed onto those softs very, very early.
Yeah, and Vintage is probably knows all the. He can see the wings of all the 3 cars behind him because he does drive on that far chase camera.
Yeah, that is true. He's just going to see URL who breathes as past him. Nothing can do about that one.
Probably going to pit this lap, but he's going to. I'm very confused with this. Oh, he's coming back. Because Pradeep. Boxes. Yeah, that was quite interesting. I expected Vintage to go into the pits at that moment.
Yeah, but I think, like I said, this stage Vintage can either gamble on taking the softs till the end or just hope for another safety car to bail him out.
Yeah, if you see Hushrav, our man in P4 right now, I mean, what would have been if he had a good qualifying?
That is true. That is absolutely true, but I think that does end his title chance the way the points stand right now.
Yep, and all in favor of IF as well.
Yeah, it's been a good comeback from easy level, that being said. I mean, where did he qualify? P12, I think? P13 maybe?
Yeah,
P14?
I think it was P13 or P14.
Yeah, somewhere around that. And so he's made up about 10 spots. Let's have a look here. So,
meanwhile, the gap between Sid Kulkarni and IF has stagnated a bit. So yeah, I don't know if anything's happening there now.
I think that gap partly came down due to Sid burning a lot of his ERS. But that being said, Ahif is also burning his ERS now. But yeah, easy level 9 places up. I'm not quite sure if Abdul Samad's boxed yet, but he's running P6 just, I was going to say P5, but he's just passed by Vintage.
If he's running P6 on 20 lap old softs, I gotta commend him for that.
Yeah, I do think he might have boxed. There's only one way to find
out. And he's...
No, and that's...
Yeah, Sid would have loved that. I mean, Sid Kulkarni, but yep.
I am not going to speak anymore.
He does a nice pirouette and just drives past again.
Very, very nicely keeps
it. There's a yellow flag and...
Is that going to be a safety car? Is it going to be a safety car?
I don't think so. And it is a safety car! Wow, just when we thought everything is calming down.
Yep.
It's... Yep.
There is always the final twist in the tail.
Well, Silverstone for you.
One by one. Two boxes. Does Thakurva come in? Thakurva, oh no.
Thakurva comes in and he gets a 5-second penalty.
No.
Ahif, you better slow down.
I have
he comes to a standstill. Sid Kulkarni behind him is in the pits as well.
Get a 5-second. Yep, Sid Kulkarni boxes as well.
So this will really light up for Ahif here because that should be a win for him. Unless he gets a penalty.
It should, unless Sid Kulkarni has something to say about it as well.
Okay, everyone is coming to a standstill. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that. I mean, it's not that difficult to slow down to 60, is it?
Vintage will understandably box given he's had that.
He was crawling at least.
Oh, look at that! Sid Venkatesh has stayed out, so he is going to gamble on jumping Vintage and easy level, I would guess. Yep, he does jump both. So Sid Venkatesh in P4 after all this. And I honestly don't see a point in Sid Venkatesh boxing, so it's actually a good call from him because he's only had the soft tires on for 2 laps.
Exactly.
And they can easily go till the end. So he shouldn't be too worried. In fact, I don't understand why Sid Kulkarni boxed either. But actually he had the 3 seconds, so he wouldn't have. Yeah, it's fine. Might as well handle it.
And all he needs to do now is stay within 2 seconds of Thakurva so that, okay, what is Sid doing right now? Why is he going off the track? He
He's
just
lost his
needs to
wing.
be...
He lost his wing. Sid
Oh,
has lost his
what
wing.
did he do? Oh
I
no.
think he spun it. I think he spun it out of the pit lane. He's lost his wing. His whole front wing is dislodged.
That'll really light up Sid Venkatesh. That's a surprise podium,
Yep.
at least
Sid
potential
Venk.
podium.
Not this podium might even be a P2 at this point, given Thakur's penalty if he can stick within him.
Yeah, that is true. It'll take a
Captain
couple of
Sandhu
laps
has,
of the safety car because the field needs to
yeah,
bunch
for
up
sure.
quite a bit.
Yeah, the field spread is quite wide right now. So I think Ashok Anand and Ace might probably box the softs, minus that Captain Sandhu, the lone man on the mediums right now.
Yep.
A bit awkwardly sandwiched in P5 on 8 lap tires, so I expect when we go to racing speed, if he doesn't box, then he's going to absolutely be swallowed up by everyone in the pack. Let's see, does Captain Sandhu box? Nope, decides to stay out. Oh boy, it just gets worse as it currently, doesn't it?
Yep, poor guy.
Oh no. This is brilliant news for Arif. We might have the new D2 champion crowned today.
Yeah. Sid in P7, he's probably going to come out P9, I guess. Maybe
Yep.
P10 also.
Oxidize, yeah, Oxidize will jump him, I think. Yep, Oxidize will jump him. And he still has a 5 second to serve.
And is Abdul Samad also going to get past him? Yes,
Yep,
he is.
Yes.
Well, he's from almost being P2 to getting a point. Maybe 2 points.
Yeah. Still has a 5 second to serve as well, so it's all just going to get postponed. A 5 second to serve and a 3 second corner cutting penalty, if I remember correctly.
I believe his 5 seconds should have been gone. Yeah, he has. Oh, he has 8. Yep, you're right.
Yep, he does. Because he got his 5 seconds on this pit stop, so if he boxes again, then he might be able to serve it. Which might actually happen given Indie Game was just coming out of the pit lane actually, so they might not actually catch up. Maybe the SC stays out one more lap, or does it 100% come in on this one? I'm not quite sure. I think it comes in on this lap regardless of whether... Oh, and Indie Game was... Okay, I know what was happening there. Indie Game was purposely stopped on track. That was dodgy to say the least. I don't know why he's done that, but nonetheless, he gets back up the racing speed and now he's going full pelt trying to catch up to the pack, which I don't think, are we given the message for safety car in this lap? I don't think we are, so
nope.
I think, yep, safety car will stay out one more lap. Does Sid box, because he can just get rid of that 5 second now, might as well.
Yeah, that is true, but he'll still have those 3 seconds left over, so I don't know if he wants to really risk that.
I don't know why he's not boxing. Because he's not going to lose any places because at best he's going to lose one place. But if he doesn't box, then he's going to lose even more places because he's going to have that 5 second. I don't know what he's doing, but yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a sprint finish now, but I don't think the Ferraris will take it too hot on each other because Thakurwa does have a 5 second penalty.
They won't, but we do know he is a driver who will fight it, even if it means winning on track. So let's see.
Yeah, and if you know, Thakurwa actually, through the first report of the previous race, had a race ban, which he overturned quite, I think, today or yesterday.
Yeah.
So coming back to win it, at least on track, would be quite a thing.
Exactly. Captain Sandhu now P4 actually because someone else has boxed. Oh yeah, right, it was Sid who lost his goal, so Captain Sandhu is elevated to P4. But yeah, 10 lap on mediums, I don't know how long he's going to last in that P4, but definitely I do know we're going to see a lot of incidents here. because we have a number of drivers out of place, number of drivers on varying strategies, like in terms of soft tire life as well. But let's quickly run through the order one more time before the safety car comes in. It is Thakurva who's led so far, not from pole position, actually Captain Sandhu getting the lead at the start, but Thakurva promptly coming back at him and controlling the race quite honestly until he unfortunately sped into the pit lane. Kind of eliminated his chances of the race win by the looks of it. While we have our championship leader, Ahif, as usual, consistent as ever. Not the fastest driver on track today, but he's been doing a solid enough job to keep it in P2 and forcing Sid into those kind of mistakes. The second Sid Venkatesh, P3. Slightly older soft tires, but again, looking good for a podium here. Captain Sandhu, P4, led the race early on, now suffering a bit on the old mediums. Easy level. Vintage, Anton, URL, believe, oxidized, up with Samad, round off the top 10, and then what could have been race for Sid Kulkarni in P11, but it's all to play for as we take the restart from Thakurva. He has already gone, looks to have timed it very well. He's left Ahif for absolute dust, and look at that, it's actually Abhi in between the two.
Yeah, so, he'll be looking to get away from Ahif pretty soon. Oh, and he had to stop. Oh my god, that's let Thakurva go again.
Look at that, Thakurva already at 2.1. Remember, he needs 5 seconds, so he needs about 2.7 seconds in 3 laps at this point.
Yeah, and I mean that is not impossible. That is possible. He does have the pace.
And look at that, oxidized Abdul Samad, Anton Hypers, that's fun, no wonder. Let's see, and battles up Captain Sandhu.
He's hounding Sid Venkatesh right now.
Yeah. I was gonna say, weirdly enough, Captain Sandhu is the one doing the pressuring right now.
And look at Thakurva already 3.1 seconds ahead with with not even the lap over, just not even 2 sectors for that matter.
Do you think it might be a possibility? I don't know whether they race on party chat. I think they do, but do you think it might be a possibility that Thakurva has just asked Ahif to maybe back off?
It is possible. I mean, Ahif, whether it's a P2 or victory here with Sid right down at P9, I don't think it should be a big loss for him.
Yeah, might be a bit of sportsmanship coming into it because, like I said, Thakurva, he's controlled pretty much all race perfectly and a bit silly to get that 5-second penalty at the end. But then again, I think the whole sim racing drivers, no one wants to finish second. So if I were Ahif, I would be pushing. I wouldn't be slowing down for my teammate because, well, it's his job. He should have slowed down for the pit lane. But nonetheless, they all push on. 1.4 seconds for Thakurva to pull out now. Thakurva is using significantly more of his battery, I think.
Meanwhile, easy level was on the back of Captain Sandhu. That place is to be his either way with the penalty Captain Sandhu has. But I'm sure he'll be much more delighted to make that overtake on track.
Yep, Kulkarni on oxidized rage as well. Down the inside, oxidized doesn't fight it as much, and it goes up to 8. 3.9 the gap. 1 second, that's what Thakurva needs to make up. So I don't think Ahif is purposely slowing down. I think he just had a very bad restart lap. That's why he lost all of that time, and Thakurva's made a slight mistake.
Easy level bought right on the gearbox of that McLaren, looking at the Husky chocolate written on the rear wing there.
Is it going to be a sweet move though? Not quite yet. But
and Sandhu, that he made that easy for him.
And now look at that, easy level on 3-lap pressure tires with DRS to help him out in the last lap as well. Battle for the podium.
Yep, this is where the eyes are now, and I have brought down the gap just a bit.
Yeah. So I think the way it looks, unless Ahif makes a dramatic mistake on the last lap, might be not just a championship but also a race win for him, as Ashok Anand has.
Yep, he will get.
Turn 1 and
Ashok Anand will get his participation certificate for the Silverstone GP.
Yeah, he definitely will. And easy level. Now on Sid Venkatesh. Unfortunately,
Sid goes very wide.
He
And
does, and Italy is like that.
yeah, he's gonna
Sid
have a good
also
run
has
on him on the cops.
slightly less battery than Sid. Captain Sandhu right there behind them to still pick up the perhaps strongest battle if anything does happen. And Vintage player consequently right behind Captain Sandhu.
Yeah,
So
easy
they're
level got
gonna
a
have a
good run out
very
of cops. Let's see what he does in Maggots and Beckett's now.
oh, it's
Slightly
not the
wide.
best run. Yeah, not the best. But he gets good drive. That's
Yeah,
good
Sid
drive.
didn't have the best one either. So this is going to be a
He
last
did not.
lap shootout now with between them. And Sid is out of
And Sid is deviating.
ERS.
He's yet there. He's gonna send it.
Oh, and
Oh,
Sid
and he's
spun
missing
around.
that.
Ah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
That
I
is
think Sid
very
just.
unfortunate.
And the second Sid. Oh, Falcon Yep, never mind. And look at that. Ahif crosses the line, and that is your new D2 champion and race winner by 6 cents. Well done, Ahif.
Is he
Easy
the
level,
D2
round left.
champion?
He is because Sid Kulkarni finishes all the way P11, so that does put him out of touch for the last race. So regardless of what happens in the last race, Ahif will be champion.
So we have a Ferrari 1-2 followed by the Mercedes of easy level bot who made a good recovery from P13 on the grid. Followed by Captain Sandhu who finishes P4, Vintage player P5, Venkatesh finishes P6, what could have been a podium maybe. Followed by URL Pradeep in P7, Indic Gamer in P8, Oxidized Rage P9, Abdul Samad P10, Sid Kulkarni P11, Anton in P12, rounding up our points, followed by Deadly Mosquito, Abhi, and why is my game not okay? Deadly Mosquito, Abhi, Ace, Ashok, Wicked Wiki being the last of the finishers, with Wicked Wiki and Harshid the only ones, the two to DNF this race. Meanwhile, let's add who do I add? The two Ferraris and easy level to the party.
Yep. Dramatic final corner. I mean, not final corner. Well, last lap that.
Yep.
Sid, I think, just slightly overcooked it there, going into slow and unfortunately tapped the side of easy level. But yeah.
So we have the three podium sitters who have joined the party now, and Hushraf, you'd like to take us away?
Absolutely. So, our P3 man, let's start with an easy level. How was that? A bit of a disappointing qualifying, we realized. We were discussing because you were one of the three drivers in mathematical contention for the championship, but unfortunately went away a bit in qualifying, but nonetheless, a solid comeback to the podium, and obviously that last lap battle with Sid. What was happening there? Yeah, indeed. It's been a good performance from you, though, nonetheless. And while unfortunately today's result does mean you're no longer in contention for P1, I can tell you that Sid Kulkarni didn't have the strongest of races today, and that does mean with your podium, you close right up to him in the battle for P2 on the championship. So that's definitely something that we should watch out for in the finale the next weekend. So, yep, you still have something to fight for. Nonetheless, our P2 driver, Thakur, really a race
No,
of
sir.
what could have been.
IF was P2, not Thakurwa.
Oh, sorry, my bad. No, wait. I
Yeah,
played, no,
yeah.
I won the
Yep.
race.
Ferrari boys played it smart at the end.
Yep.
So it
Go
is
ahead, Yash.
IF in P2, and
Okay.
also a big congratulations to our season 7 D2 champion, IF. Not going to ask you any questions, going to let you take it away and tell us how your race was, how your championship has been this season.
Thank you, man. It feels great. It's been a very good season, and firstly, thanks to Takurwa. I mean, he's been such a good teammate. Actually, I was not. I have no plans of no winning or something in the start of the season. We both had very bad start to the season, but no, we kept telling each other to just take one race at a time, see how it's going, and luckily, we were able to get a lot of 1-2s, and I was able to get the championship. And I think Thakurwa deserved the win today, and unfortunately he got the 5 seconds. And I think he let me win in France. He was not pushing it, so I think since Sid Kulkarni was way behind, I think he had wing damage while coming out of the pitch or something. So I thought Thakurwa deserved the win. So very happy, man. Very happy for the championship. Very happy for the constructors as well.
Yeah, well,
That is
it was a really good season from the two of you, and hopefully be seeing much more of you in D1 next season.
Hopefully,
But
sure.
yeah, anything you want to say, Hushraf?
Oh no, nothing. Yeah. In fact, brilliant job by the tutorial display of sportsmanship. I actually thought, because I saw the gap was 6 tenths, and I thought Ahif would have missed out on the P1. I mean, Ahif would have got P1 by 6 tenths. So, yep, good job by both of you guys. I was gonna tell Thakur, in fact, that it would have been a race of what could have been, given he had controlled it for so long. But I'm very glad to see that you guys sorted it out, and yep, you all let the driver who led most of the race win. So, just yeah, commendable job by both of you guys. I mean, you look at the standings. Ahif 7 points in the first two races, Thakur 2 points in the first two races, and all have gone from that absolutely dominating the Constructors' Championship by over, I think, 150 points after today. So, brilliant job by the both of you. And yep, now the race winner, Thakur. Not a race of what could have been, but a race of what has been. A brilliant drive all the way from pole. Slight hiccup at the start there with Captain Sandhu and the softs, but well controlled otherwise. Tell us, how was it from your perspective?
Yeah, so I mean, it was clear like Sandhu was dumping a lot of ERS. Like IF and I could see him flashing on lap 2. So somewhere we just knew that we had to keep it cool, and just make the move when he's down or whatever. So that was pretty straightforward. And from there, I was pretty much I had good race pace today. Like I was feeling good with the setup and stuff. But then, of course, the late safety cars always catch me out. This is not the first time this is happening. Every time there's a late safety car, I get a 5 second and I ram into the pits. So I'm glad I could work together with IF, and obviously I could take the win at the end, which was great. So, and obviously we wrapped up constructors. So congrats to us on that. And obviously IF wraps up the drivers' championship today, one race before. So expect to see some donuts in Brazil. But yeah, that's the race.
Yeah, don't you love Brazil, Thakur?
I hope you're not commentating that day.
Oh well, yep, season 5 throwbacks. Anyway, a good race from the Ferrari boys and the lone Mercedes guy who came up the ranks.
And
Well, like I said during the
yeah,
race, also, Gaurav, you live to fight another day.
Yeah, man. I think that's
he
the
does, and
story of our
in fact, Thakurwa as well, seeing the points table with his win. I think, and fastest lap as well. So full 26 points to boot. He also joins that fight for P3 now. So it's while the championship might have been done and while the constructors is also over, it's yet all to play for P2 and P4 and P2 and P3. So, yep, join us back next week for the season finale for D2.
Yeah, before you close, I think my audio wasn't on sharing, so quick again apology to Anton if that was your Alpine. My wheel was disconnected during qualifying, but feel free to report. It's okay. I'll take the ban. I'm getting used to starting at the back of the grid for qualifying. But nonetheless, it was a good, intense race with Sid as well in the last lap, and I enjoyed it very much. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone, and that's it for our season 7 Silverstone Grand Prix, and which is the second last race now of this game, hopefully. So yeah, see you all in Brazil for the season finale of an already decided championship, and yep, and then see you all in F1 22, and also tomorrow's D1 race if at all we have drivers who show up. Goodbye and good night.